And this all have then between 4 and 12 bands. The spectral bands then are also related to the kind of products we can derive them and to the accuracy, because the processors automatically use always all bands that are available to use all the information. They are not driven to certain bands, it's not all enough information then. And then we have the high resolution range of 2 to 5 meter resolution, and here we use, well, Iconos, QuickBird, WorldView, Puppet Eye, maybe I forgot one. There, yes. So we use what is in the range of the client's interest. The high resolution, of course, are commercial, so the data costs are already quite, their data costs then already related, and the data costs are lower in the resolution range of 30 meter, or 130 is even free, and in the 500 meter, 200 meter to 500 meter range, the data costs, original data costs are can be free.
Do we have any more questions?
My name is Nanda from Station Hill. I wonder whether have you done any project that have daily monitoring for water quality? So maybe you could explain more, for example, for turbidity, where you need to calibrate the result with the in-situ monitoring. What is the turnaround time? And since you mentioned that Singapore is challenging because of the cloud presence, what happens if that's a requirement of daily monitoring and at one particular day the cloud is just not possible for you to process the data? Thank you.
Yes. I will start with the last question. We are not capable to remove the clouds. And so for your application you have to quest if still there is a value if there's on some days no data. Then so if you monitor, really must monitor each day, you must integrate this. If you measure then each day continuously with in-situ measures, then you know that you also measure only one point, so I think you again have to go back then also to sunlight to integrate this. The next question, the turnaround time for Europe, Australia, Central America is at the moment between approximately 1 hour and 1 day. It depends on your request, because we have dedicated processors who process in very fast your specified area, and we have the standard processors that are just doing the standard processing. And for Asia, we at the moment set up also this processing, so I may expect that in 2 months' time we have the near real-time processing also available here. For the moment, the turnaround for this region is 1 day.
I think we've got some time for maybe 2 more questions, about 10-15. So, anyone else have any questions?
I think we have still the opportunity to discuss then during the coffee break, and I welcome this very much.
Possible.
Yeah, excuse me. I'm Peter from UB. Can you go back to the slide with validation of Product A?
Yeah.
The graph with in-situ.
This one?
Yeah. Okay. So here the in-situ crop rate is actually from one depth or different depth, or the average of the.
It's integrated. This well, the authority here in Lake Zurich measures what integrated measures between 1 and 7 meter and 1 and 30 meters, so they do 2 or 3 different integrated types. And the satellite measure is, as I mentioned before, it is integrated between 1 and typically 1 and 10 meters for these conditions. But it varies, so we calculate for each record then the concrete depth where the satellite value comes from.
So it's actually validated for one location only.
It's only one location. Well, in situ is only one location, so we can also validate here with satellite. Well, no. This next slide. That's Lake Constance. That's another lake, and so we have further lakes validated like this. But always, well, usually we don't do the own measurements, so we take the measurements of the authorities to validate. And they all have different types, these integrate different and also measure different. And I mentioned Bavaria, they measure again different, so they count cells and integrate this then.
So how much is the accuracies? In terms of accuracy, we compare how many percent, let's say 90% or 80%?
Yeah, it depends. It depends. One important point: how you compare. So in situ measure, as you mentioned already, you can integrate the first 30 meters. You can have a measure just the first meter, or in 30 meter. So that's already different than methodology. The methodology is already different. And then the in situ measurement is at one point at a certain time. And then you have the sample, keep it maybe for 1 hour before you bring it to the spectrometer, or keep it for 5 hours. That all makes a difference. So that's why it is very for chlorophyll, because it is so sensitive to all this, how this was measured in situ. Very difficult for us to estimate directly the accuracy. What we can do is here to estimate long-term comparisons, to show that, well, we have the same range, of course. I think here for the constant accuracy in comparison to their measure, maybe 30%. For chlorophyll, because here you usually do not need to discriminate if this is 4 or 5 microgram per liter. You need to know, okay, is the range in my lake, because this is related to the eutrophic stage between 1 and 5, or 5 and 30, or 30 and 100. So that's what's the interest usually of the authorities. So that's why it's not usually not the question is accuracy here 1 or 10%, but if you need still the different ranges of eutrophication.
So let's say the solution, we want to improve the accuracies. Right now, what could be the potential solution to improve?
Yes, well, I follow here the recommendations of the authorities. So they at the moment start initial internal discussions. To be aware of the own accuracies. So they made already several validations of the different in situ measurements, and the accuracy of the in situ measurements of the different one is about 100%. You can with one method measure 5, and with the other method you measure 10 microgram per liter. And then you start to compare also with this methodology and be aware also of the differences. And you must start requesting what gives you the most related value to the economic status that you want to derive. So it is not always to the question what is this accuracy in relation to a certain in situ, because in situ also has an inaccuracy. But for chlorophyll, I must add one thing: you must be aware that you cannot derive chlorophyll absorption from all satellite sensors. Not all are capable. Here you need a certain spectral resolution, and you also have in some lakes a specific range of optical conditions which more or less mask the chlorophyll absorption. So for chlorophyll it's a little bit more complicated. That's why we at the moment like this total organic absorption, because this total organic absorption plus scattering gives us also a range of maximum chlorophyll range, and that's what we can measure continuously, and that also allows the authorities to evaluate the economic status.
Thank you.
So the kind of discussion must a little bit be changed if you look really into countrywide monitoring.